We laughed about how our baby didn't look like either of us, until a 23andMe kit landed on our doorstep. One line inside, "This is your son." A box. A barcode. A sentence that cracked open my entire life. The sender's name? Mine. But I never sent it. Someone had ordered it as me, maybe so I wouldn't ignore it. My name's Noah. I'm 36. I've been married 7 years. We have a daughter, Ellie. Or so I thought, until this kit showed up. Let me back up, not too far. Just to a night a few weeks before the box came. We were sitting at dinner, me, my wife Emily, and Ellie. Fish sticks. Broccoli. Nothing fancy. Ellie was giggling at something on her plate. And out of nowhere, she says, "Why don't I look like you?" Emily looked at me. I looked at her. She smiled and said something about how everyone's unique, how mommy's genes were just strong. I laughed, but something in her smile didn't feel real. I brushed it off. I wish I hadn't. Fast forward to the box. Inside was a small card. No note, just a login. I entered the code, and there it was. Under paternal matches, a name popped up I didn't recognize. Beside it, parent, male. Next to it, my photo. From an old DMV database, probably. And under that, a name, Caleb. Age, 6. I froze. I only had one child. I'd only ever had one child. And now this test was saying otherwise. Emily came into the kitchen behind me, holding her coffee, and asked what I was staring at. I turned the screen toward her. She didn't move, didn't blink, just stared. Then she said the words that rewrote our marriage in a single breath. "I can explain." That's when I knew. Not that it was true. I knew that already. But I knew then that she'd been holding on to this secret for years, letting it grow up alongside us, just out of sight. And now it was standing in our kitchen with a paper label and my DNA. I walked outside. Didn't take my coat. Didn't even grab my keys. Just walked. Because when a man finds out he has a child he didn't know existed, not because of a one-night stand, but because someone he trusted kept it from him, the cold isn't what shakes him. It's the silence that comes after. When I came back inside, she was sitting at the table. Same table where we'd carved pumpkins. Sorted bills. Blew out birthday candles. Only now, it was the table where everything came undone. She told me his name again. Caleb. Said he was 6. Lived in Denver. Said she never meant for me to find out. That she'd been trying to protect our family. I asked the question that wouldn't stop screaming in my chest. "Is he mine?" She nodded. Slowly. Like each inch of her neck weighed 100 pounds. And then she said something I'll never forget, because it split the story of my life into a before and after. "I never told you, because he was born 2 months before we got married. During that time when we weren't speaking. After your dad died. When you moved out for those 3 weeks and said you needed space." I remembered. That silence. That grief. I thought we were on a break. A pause before the wedding. But apparently life didn't pause with us. I didn't speak. Not then. Because I was too busy rewinding every moment of our life together. The vows, the house, the pregnancy with Ellie, and wondering what else had been built on silence. And here's the part no one prepares you for. It's not just the betrayal. It's realizing someone made a decision about your child, without you. And now? Now I had a son I'd never met. And a wife I didn't recognize. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was angry, not at first. Because I couldn't stop picturing a little boy with my face, my blood, my name, and a life I hadn't been there for. 6 years. 6 birthdays. 6 sets of scraped knees and lost teeth and bedtime stories. All of it happened without me. And the woman I loved, the woman I chose, had known every minute. Emily slept on the couch. Or maybe she just laid there pretending. Either way, we didn't speak. At 3:14 a.m., I opened my laptop, typed in Caleb, cross-referenced the last name Emily gave me, scrolled until my eyes burned. And there he was. A kindergarten photo. Blue polo shirt. Smile missing one front tooth. Freckles across his nose. My freckles. I'd never been more sure of anything. He looked like me in 2nd grade. The same damn lopsided grin I see in the mirror after shaving. And I realized something strange, something that made my stomach turn. I wasn't mad at him. Not even a little. I was mad at her. Mad in a way I didn't know I could be. A quiet, sharp kind of anger. The kind that doesn't yell, it just watches. Waits. At sunrise, I asked her to sit down. No accusations. No dramatics. Just questions. Who's his mother? Emily stared at her coffee, then said her name. Madeline. That hit harder than I expected. Because Madeline wasn't just anyone. She was Emily's best friend. Maid of honor at our wedding. The woman who helped us paint the nursery for Ellie. Who toasted us at the rehearsal dinner like she believed every word. I couldn't make the words come out at first, so she kept going. It was a mistake, she said. A stupid, selfish mistake. They'd slept together during a rough patch. The month after my dad died. The month I stopped talking, stopped shaving, stopped being fun, or warm, or present. She was just there, Emily said. And I was broken. She swore it only happened once. She swore they didn't plan to keep it. But Madeline couldn't go through with ending it. She moved to Denver. Said she'd raise the baby alone. Promised never to say a word. And Emily? She agreed. She agreed to bury the truth. To let Caleb grow up thinking his dad was nobody. And let me go on living like my whole life hadn't been edited behind my back. I asked her why she never told me, even after all these years. She said it would have ruined us. She said she was trying to protect our family. And I said something I didn't plan to. Didn't even think about until it came out. You weren't protecting our family. You were protecting your secret. That's when she cried. Real, shaking sobs. But they didn't move me. Because here's the thing about truth. If it comes too late, it still lands like a lie. I left the house that afternoon. Told her I needed air. But really, I needed space. To think. To process. To figure out how a man meets his son without unraveling everything else. I went to my brother's place. Told him everything. He didn't interrupt. Just nodded. Sat with me while I said the name out loud again. Caleb. It felt like saying a prayer. Or a confession. He asked what I wanted to do next. And I told him the only thing that felt true. I need to see him. Not for Emily. Not for Madeline. For me. For him. Because I'd already lost 6 years. I wasn't going to lose another day. It was a Wednesday when I stood outside Madeline's house. Denver felt colder than I remembered. Or maybe it was just me, standing there with sweaty palms and a jacket that suddenly didn't feel like enough. I hadn't called first. Emily gave me the address. Said Madeline agreed to let me visit. Just once, she'd said, like she still had a right to put limits on this. Madeline hadn't answered my calls. Not once. But she hadn't said no either. According to Emily, Caleb had started asking questions, real ones. And Madeline, who'd once promised never to involve me, now wasn't so sure that promise was fair. So I drove 8 hours through snow and silence, not knowing what would happen on the other side of the door. When she opened it, she looked exactly the same. Older maybe, tired, but the same sharp jawline, same eyes that used to catch every detail in a room. She looked at me for a long second. No smile, no invitation. Then finally, you look like him. I didn't know what that meant. Like him as in Caleb? Or like I used to. I didn't ask. She stepped aside. I walked in. The house was small, clean, bright, in a lived-in way. Soccer ball by the stairs. Crayon drawings taped to the fridge. One of them said, Mommy and Me, in shaky letters. Stick figures smiling under a sun. That's when I saw him. At the kitchen table, head bent over a coloring book. He didn't notice me at first. Madeline called his name, soft, but firm. Caleb, someone's here. He looked up, and I swear to God, I forgot how to breathe. Because when your own face looks back at you, smaller, newer, unguarded, it's not something you're ever ready for. He blinked, then tilted his head. Are you the dentist? Madeline let out a breath, her first real smile since I'd arrived. No, baby. Remember? Dr. Benson said next week. Oh, he looked at me again. You kinda look like him. He looked at me again, waiting. I knelt beside the table. Managed to smile. Hey, Caleb. I'm a friend of your mom's. He nodded, like that was enough. Want a color? He asked. And just like that, no hesitation, no suspicion, he handed me a red crayon. I sat down. My hands shook. We colored for 20 minutes. Didn't talk much. He showed me a dragon he'd drawn. Asked if I liked dinosaurs. Told me his favorite snack was the kind with the cheese on one side and crackers on the other. Told me his tooth was loose. And then, out of nowhere, he said, Mom says I don't have a dad. Just her. That's enough. I looked at Madeline, who had turned away. I didn't correct him. Not yet. Because I didn't want to be a wrecking ball in that moment. I just wanted to be present. After he went to his room, I stayed. Madeline poured coffee. Sat across from me at the table where I'd just met my son. I didn't come here to fight, I said. I'm not here to punish you. I just need answers. She nodded. But I need to know something, I said. Why now? Why let me in after all this time? Madeline stared at her cup. Then she said, because he started asking, a few months ago. Out of nowhere. Said he wanted to know if he had a dad like the other kids. I didn't know what to say. I let that sit for a minute. Then asked the question I'd been carrying since the 23andMe result hit my inbox. Did he ever know? I mean, Did you ever think about telling me? She hesitated, then shook her head. I didn't want to blow up your life. You were about to get married. Emily said it would ruin everything. She begged me not to tell you. Said she'd handle it. I blinked. She said, what? Madeline looked up, startled. Wait, you didn't know she knew? I didn't know anything until last week. And just like that, the puzzle snapped into place. Emily had known, all along, not just about Caleb, but about the timing, the truth, the silence. And she hadn't been protecting me. She'd been protecting her future, our marriage, herself. Her face paled. And in that silence, I felt the ground shift again. Because now I knew it hadn't just been one lie. It had been two women, two people I trusted, making decisions about a child I hadn't been given the chance to love. I stood up, didn't yell, didn't accuse. Just said, I'd like to come back. If that's okay. Madeline nodded. He deserves to know you. I opened the door, looked back once. Caleb's crayon drawing still sat on the table. He'd written his name in big block letters at the top. And under it, a second name, misspelled, but clear, Denal. He'd asked Madeline how to spell it, she said. She told him it was a friend's name. He liked it, she said. Said it sounded strong. I walked to my car. That piece of paper burned into my memory. And I knew something deep in my gut. That little boy was mine. In blood. In spirit. And someday, God help me, in name. When I got back from Denver, Emily was waiting. She was sitting on the porch, jacket zipped to the neck, holding a mug she wasn't drinking. Like she didn't know whether to cry or explain or beg. I parked in the driveway but didn't get out right away. I just sat there, watching her. She didn't look up. Eventually, I stepped out and walked past her. Not angry. Just emptied. I wasn't sure I had anything left to say. She followed me inside. I didn't know you'd go so soon, she said. To see him. You knew I would. She nodded. Quiet. Then, what was he like? I paused. Happy, I said. Smart. Kind. Said I looked like a dentist. That made her smile. For a second. Then it faded. Do you hate me? Do you hate me? Are you mad at me? I sat down. Looked at the woman I used to think I'd grow old with. And I didn't answer right away. Because mad wasn't the right word. I think you broke something, I finally said. Not just between us. Between me and him. You stole the first 6 years. She started to cry. I didn't comfort her. Not because I didn't care. But because I was tired of carrying the weight of everyone else's choices. You made a decision, I said. You and Madeline. You cut me out of something that belonged to all of us. I was scared, she said. I thought if you knew, you'd leave. I would have stayed, I said. Not just for you. For him. Because I'm not the kind of man who walks away from what's mine. She wiped her face. Then said something I didn't expect. I think you should tell Ellie. That stopped me cold. I hadn't even thought that far. She's 5, I said. How do you tell a 5-year-old she has a brother she's never met? Emily looked down. Her voice was smaller now. Because I already took too much from both of them. At least let them start with the truth. She deserves to know. And so does he. He asked about her. That hit me harder than anything else. He asked about his sister. A little girl he'd never met. A name on a family tree he hadn't been allowed to climb. I'm not sure how to be a dad to 2 kids in 2 cities, I said. One of them doesn't even know me. The other thinks I've always been hers. Emily walked over, sat across from me. Start by being there, she said. She wasn't wrong. So I did. I started calling Caleb once a week. Sometimes just 5 minutes. Sometimes we talk about dinosaurs or what he learned at school. I didn't push. I let him lead. I sent him a book every Friday. Stories about explorers, inventors, kids with big ideas and messy hair. He started calling me Dan first. Then, one day, Dad. I was driving when he said it. Nearly missed my exit. Just sat there, blinking at the road like it had shifted under me. Madeline said he started asking questions after that. About where I lived. What Ellie was like. What I looked like as a kid. She sent him photos. He taped them to his wall. I sent him a drawing Ellie made. A family picture, stick figures again. Me, Emily, her, and a new one, with red hair and a cape. She'd labeled him brother. Didn't ask for permission. Just added him. After we told her, she asked 100 questions. Then sat with her crayons for an hour in silence. That was the result. Emily and I didn't fix things overnight. Some cracks don't close all the way. Some trust doesn't come back. But we found something in the wreckage. Something real. Not the love we started with. That was gone. Or maybe just changed. But something steadier. A shared purpose. Parents. To 2 kids who didn't ask for any of this, but deserved everything good we could still give them. I started driving to Denver twice a month. Not out of obligation. Out of instinct. Because that's what a father owes. Not just a name on a birth certificate, but presence, consistency, a hand to hold when the truth gets heavy. By spring, Caleb had started calling every Sunday on his own. Didn't need reminders. Didn't need nudging. He'd call right after lunch, always with the same opener. "So what did you do this week, Dad?" Not Dan, not Mr. Dad. 6 letters that hit like a hammer and healed like a prayer. At first, it was just updates. School stuff. He lost his second tooth and told me the tooth fairy brought $2 and a Pokemon card. Then he started asking deeper things. "What's your favorite color? Did you play soccer too? What was your daddy like?" And each question carved out a little more space in the part of me I hadn't realized had gone numb. The part that had been waiting to become something I didn't know I still wanted. A father. Not the emergency contact on a form kind. The kind that knows when a nightmare is coming just by the pause in a sentence. The kind that sends a stuffed bear through the mail because the last one got left on a school bus. The kind that shows up. Madeline was guarded at first. She didn't trust the speed of it, and I get it. I wouldn't have either. But she saw I wasn't going anywhere. And I think, in her own way, she wanted Caleb to have what he'd missed. Even if it meant sharing him with a man she once tried to forget. One night, after he went to bed, we sat on the porch while Ellie played with sidewalk chalk on the driveway. Madeline asked how Emily was doing. I told her we'd started counseling. Not for marriage. That was over. But for co-parenting. For Ellie. We were separating quietly. No fights. No scorched earth. Just endings, soft and tired. Like a song winding down. Madeline looked surprised. "I thought maybe you two were trying again." I shook my head. "We're not who we were. And now that everything's in the light, I don't want to build anything on shadows." She nodded, then asked if I was angry. At her? At you? She hesitated. At all of it. I thought about that. About the years I didn't get. The birthdays I missed. The school plays I never clapped through. The first dida I never heard. Then I looked at the 2 chalk drawings Ellie had made. One was her, holding hands with a stick figure in a red cape, Caleb. The other was all 4 of us. Me, Ellie, Emily, and him. Crude, messy, beautiful. "No," I said. "I'm not angry anymore." I meant it. Because sometimes life doesn't give you what you deserve. Sometimes it gives you what you're ready for, when you're finally ready for it. That summer, I took Caleb and Ellie on a trip. Just the 3 of us. A cabin near the lake, board games, marshmallows, fishing poles. Ellie called him Bubba by the second day. He asked if she could be his sister at home too. I didn't know how to answer that, so I just said, "She already is." That night, after they fell asleep, I sat on the porch under a sky that felt bigger than I could hold. And I cried. Not because I was sad. Because somehow, in all the broken places, the lies, the silence, the long drive through regret, I'd found something whole. I'd become the father I never knew I could be. And I wasn't going back. It's been almost 2 years since the 23andMe kit landed on my doorstep. I kept the box. I don't know why. Maybe to remind myself how small a moment can be. How one line of text can undo everything you thought was true, and still somehow lead you to something better. Caleb's room is the one across from Ellie's now. He visits every other weekend, longer in the summer. He's got his own toothbrush here, his own drawer of mismatched socks, his favorite cereal on the second shelf because he's too short to reach the top one. He draws comics, loves robots, thinks I make the best grilled cheese in the universe. Ellie calls him her backup twin, even though they're a year apart. She says it like it's a compliment, and maybe it is. Emily and I, we're not married anymore. The papers came quietly. No lawyers, no courtroom. Just 2 people choosing honesty over habit. And that's not a failure. It's a choice. We still co-parent Ellie. We're kind, careful. We go to school events, sit 2 rows apart, wave at each other. Sometimes we laugh. Sometimes we don't. But there's no more pretending. And honestly, that's peace. Madeline and I, we've learned how to be something new. Not a couple. Not enemies. Just 2 people carrying the same small heartbeat between them, trying to do it well. And most days, we do. The hard part wasn't forgiving her. It was forgiving the years that vanished. The birthdays I missed. The milestones I never knew to mark. But one night, Caleb crawled into my lap with a picture he drew at school, his family tree. Stick figures again. Me at the top. Madeline next to me. Ellie beneath. Him in the center. All of us linked by red crayon lines, messy and unbalanced. "This one's you," he said, pointing. "I'm the top?" I asked. He nodded. "That's where the strong ones go." I didn't cry. Not then. But I felt something settle in my chest, not pain, not regret. Just wait. The kind you carry when someone finally hands you what's always been yours. He doesn't know the whole story. Not yet. Someday, maybe. When he's old enough to ask not just what happened, but why. And when he does, I'll tell him the truth. That life isn't made in the clean chapters. It's made in the pages we nearly tore out and decided to keep anyway. That being a father doesn't start the day a child is born. It starts the day you show up fully, honestly, without excuses and say, I'm here. Because I am. Now. For good. And if someone ever asks Caleb what it was like, finding his dad so late, I hope he says something simple. Something honest. I didn't find him late. He just got here right on time.